Hello and welcome to the AV experience. It has been far too long, but to some of you, maybe not long enough. My name is Ryan, joined as always by Jonathan, and we're going to be trying to answer all of your AV questions. And as I say that, my daughter is coming down the stairs. But Jonathan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing real good. I just got off my work like 6 minutes ago, so I was trying to cram down some spaghetti and jump on this, jump on this call where we are always ready to start the moment we say we are ready to start. I think.
No, never, ever does that happen.
Yeah, you joined in. There's like 45 seconds left or something, and I joined in. There was a minute and a half left, so it's not like we're flying in here by the seat of our
Yeah,
pants.
it's like, oh, I got an alert. Oh, I should go downstairs and do this now. It's not like we're prepared or being professional about this. I don't know why people even tune into us. Maybe because it's a train wreck. And when the train wreck is violent enough, much like Jonathan vomiting spaghetti out of his nose, you just can't look away. Because if I saw Jonathan doing that, there's no way I would ever look away from that.
Ay,
It'd
ay,
be a
ay.
spectacle, a violent spectacle, but a spectacle.
I'm getting a notice a pop up right now that says it's time to restart my machine, and it's going to do it in 4 minutes. Not now. I'm clicking not now. We'll see. We'll see if it obeys.
Oh,
Because I've been on vacation for a couple weeks, and I fired up my computer, and now it thinks it has to update.
you never know what Windows is going to do.
It says we're going to do it outside of your active hours. I'm active. You see, I'm active right now. I'm clicking.
I'm doing something. I'm actively doing something. And then you have to wonder I'm sure you've experienced this where you'll hit don't do it now Windows
Yeah,
and then it does it anyway.
yeah. Then all of a sudden you lose like your
No.
mouse, or things start closing down. You're like, no.
No, I said no.
Yeah, isn't that the
Oh
way?
well. That is the IT way.
Huh.
That is the IT way. So how was your trip? Was it good?
We had a good time. We
Fruitful?
spent a day in New York City walking around. I guess I'm old now. I got some sort of rash around my sock line. We looked it up. It's called Disney rash. Apparently, if you're overweight and out of shape and a midlife woman, you get a thing called Disney rash. So I didn't know, but now I know.
Are you actually a woman?
I It's news to me, but apparently
Oh.
it's something the best we can find as far as the
Well,
symptoms.
Megan is into something that I didn't know about.
My wife's teasing me a little bit about this. I got to be honest.
Mm. I rightfully so. I would tease you about it,
Yeah,
Jonathan.
it's
Mm.
it's pretty red, and it doesn't seem to be going away. Look here, this you wanted to see this?
Dang!
It's on both feet, both
Dang!
ankles.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah, it's
That's
angry,
impressive.
lobster red.
It's very angry.
It doesn't itch or anything. We looked it up.
Hmm.
I thought it was bug bites, but it hasn't really gone away.
That does not seem like something a bug bite would look like. At
Well,
least
it was underneath my sock line, so I thought maybe some like chiggers or something got in there, but it didn't itch.
in the concrete jungle of New York.
Well, when we were they live in the woods, like in the mountains, basically.
Oh,
And
okay.
so we're out, living in that environment. And then we went to New York one day, and I noticed it when I got back from New York. So I thought, well, maybe some bugs got me.
Oh, okay. I
Look
guess
up
that.
for all of you at
I don't
home.
know that I want to Google that.
Look up Disney rash, and
No,
you'll see samples of like what I'm
that's
dealing with.
like Googling anything that comes across as an innocent illness, and then you start getting something, the worst case scenarios of everything. Everything.
Yeah,
Like now, every time I look at spaghetti, I'm just going to think of coming out of Jonathan's nose every single
Mm.
time. And now everybody on chat's going to think the same thing. So I'm not alone.
Oh man, yeah.
I'm
If we
not
haven't
alone.
lost our audience by now, they are hardcore to stick with us through all this discussion at the
Well,
beginning.
they can't look away. Okay. They can't look away. Anything new in the home theater?
No, since I've been gone, I haven't even messed with it. I did visit my brother-in-law's home theater for the first time, and that was kind of fun. He
That's
has
good.
8 of those little JBL 12-inch that Brian has 80 of, and they sounded really phenomenal actually for 8 of them. I was really impressed with them. So
Uh,
it even inspired me more about Brian's future
uh,
state of his theater.
so Brian would gain what,
10
12 dB over that?
Well, it's 10 times as many drivers, but yeah, it would probably be each doubling is 3 dB,
Yeah.
6 dB if they were all stacked, which they are in Brian's case. So I mean, is there a limit to co-locating? At some point,
I don't know. Probably.
that has to break down
I don't
because you're
know. We
crossing
should
the
test that. We
one
should
quarter
test that with
wavelength.
Brian's setup. Like, is there a limit to where this stops mattering?
Yeah, there's
find
got to
out.
be because it's all based on that wavelength boundary at the frequency. So
Has he turned it on yet?
No, as far as I know, he said he hadn't had a chance to mess with it. I texted him fairly recently. Because I told my brother-in-law bought 8 of them, like, and he's real happy with the sound,
and he's pretty pumped.
And I told him, there's a guy in Kansas City that's putting 8 of these, and his jaw dropped to the floor.
You just have to be the Debbie Downer. The guy's living high, and you're like, hey, actually, in Kansas City, where we do everything like we have a mental illness, this guy is doing 80 of them.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no.
Yeah, this is no. It actually was really good. It sounded the bass was really good.
You were pleased.
I was pleased.
This is what matters.
Yeah, he did 4 up front and he did 4 near field. The near field weren't. I mean, we talked about that before. And my opinion stays the same. 12 isn't big enough for near field. You need a bigger driver.
Did he have them dialed in though?
Well, I dialed them in. Like we installed them.
Okay.
So I told him he needed to either elevate the 12-inch because they were sitting on the floor. He either needed to elevate them towards they were in the back of the chair or direct mount them because they're better on than off. Like you do get something, but it's not enough. He may not even know any better because I don't think he's been in experiences with 15 or 18s and 24s and stuff in the near field.
Well,
but there's a difference.
I would tell him don't come to Kansas City then. Just ignorance is bliss, man.
Yeah, there's that.
And ignorance is cheap.
There's that.
Because you don't know, you're not going to spend money until you go over to Jonathan's house and have the realization that your subwoofers don't do that. And then it's like you're on a cliff and Jonathan's just sitting behind you and he looks at the camera and gives you this like mischievous grin and just goes and just shoves you off the cliff.
Just a touch. No show.
And there you go. There's no recovering. It's just an endless roll down this cliff of forever that is AV, and Jonathan's the reason. If we draw lines back to the epicenters, all of them, at some point, there is a Jonathan.
It's like Degrees of Kevin Bacon, but with home theater.
Degrees of Jonathan. That's what this is. Degrees of Archaea.
That's funny.
We should plot that out. Like, everybody plot this out. At what point do you come back to Jonathan? How far back do you have to go?
That is funny. Paul says, hey, maybe you got bit by a tick. That did cross my mind. Lyme disease is supposed to make like bullet shaped, like target, like bullseye target type things. Mm-hmm. One of them was that. So I don't know. I need to look into that a little bit more. It did cross my mind.
No, see, it's not Lyme disease. Jonathan is just a woman that we've determined.
Middle-aged.
And I'm not making that up. That was the diagnosis. Like
that's what you read online.
Middle-aged women.
rash is associated with that.
And it's Jonathan. He's actually a woman.
The thing is that it happens to overweight people. And yeah, I mean, I am. Like, let's face the facts. So.
Nah, you're just a middle-aged woman.
I just didn't know the second part yet that I. Change somehow.
Your wife is just gonna hammer that on you. I would.
Oh man.
All right, I'll leave that alone. So you didn't do anything. You watch any movies while you were gone?
No, we watched some demos at my brother-in-law's house, but no full-length movies.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what demos?
He had a Planet of the Apes thing that we watched for a little while, and we listened to mostly music as we dialed in the subs. I have a tactical playlist, tactile playlist.
I have a tactical playlist. It's just Jonathan walking around with a notepad with his playlist in a holster as he whips it out. He's like, tactical playlist.
No, it worked. Man. We used mostly music to dial it in, and he had a iNuke with DSP or an NX 3000 series amp with DSP.
Okay, so he did it right.
So we dialed it in with the DSP, and it sounded great.
What speakers?
It's just some end walls that he got on a sale. They're not anything particularly fantastic, but they're not terrible either. And he doesn't pursue reference. Like the loudest we went was probably like negative 15-ish. I snuck up to negative 10 at one point, and he thought that was going to get him in trouble. So he's playing conservative, so it's all okay.
Okay. Well, if it's fitting the bill, it's fitting the bill.
Yeah.
So you didn't watch anything.
He's got matching, for what it's worth, they're matching end walls all the way around. And they didn't strike, they're not like a high-end but they sounded good. I mean,
Good.
they sounded good.
A lot of speakers do if you keep them within their capabilities.
Yeah.
Right. It's
Where
when
we
you
were at,
start
it was fine.
exceeding that things start becoming a problem. I watched Jurassic Park Rebirth.
Yes. Did you like it? No. Tim said it was terrible.
It was terrible.
He's the only one I know that had seen it so far.
It was really bad. Like, it's the worst Jurassic Park by far.
So I had read, though, that the AV is good enough that it kind of makes it acceptable. Did you think that was the case? I'm not one that subscribes to that, by the way. That's like saying that your stupid little robot movie that you love is worthwhile because it's got good AV.
I like that movie. It doesn't matter. It's not just about the AV stuff. I don't care. I like that movie. I mean, I would like it less if it wasn't as cool to look at. But this movie, I don't know. I didn't think at any point that this is amazing, what it was doing. But maybe I was too distracted by the suck. I don't know.
The plot's really bad, is what Tim was saying. Like too many holes and contrivance.
Yeah. It wasn't well executed.
What doesn't make sense to me on that is you've got basically unlimited budget.
Mm-hmm.
You've got unlimited time. Effectively, you can have as many
Mm-hmm.
writers as you want. You know you're making a movie that will return investment. So why not spend money on the plot and make it like a bulletproof plot?
I don't know.
I
don't know how or why they go this direction. I mean, it just wasn't good in any way. Was it good? No way was this movie good. My daughter loved it. I mean, maybe it was made for 6-year-olds. I don't know. Delivery of these lines and some of the lines that Scarlett Johansson was saying, they're just dumb.
Like was it her fault or were the lines just too stupid?
No, I don't think it's her fault. I think she can be a decent actor. I mean, it was just really bad. I mean, she's not distracting in like Lucy. So here it was just bad. Everything about that movie was bad. Everything about the movie was bad. No redeeming qualities.
I got one we can watch next time because I heard it was really bad. Did you see the reviews on War of the Worlds, the new one with Ice Cube?
I didn't even know it was a thing, but I'm going to watch it now, and it's going to be bad.
It has a 0% score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow! Wow!
Or did. I don't know what if it is today or whatever, but it did.
Okay, so we're going to watch that, and it's going to make Jurassic Park Rebirth seem like the best movie of all time.
I did hear on ABS Forum that's got a lot of good audio, so there's that whole argument there, I suppose, again.
That's not an argument. I hate that argument.
Yeah.
I hate that
I don't think you can redeem a bad movie with good
No.
stuff. Like, it's still a bad movie.
It is still a bad movie. No question. No question. What else did I watch? And I got to watch 28 Years Later. I'm excited to watch that. I watched...
is that the third one in the series?
Yes.
28 Days, 28
I
weeks,
watched In and Out 2, which I enjoyed.
Yeah.
About the emotions. I liked that.
The first one. I liked the first one.
I cried. I'm a big baby.
Is it better than the first one or along the same lines?
I mean, I thought it was well done. I don't think it's quite as good because the first one is it's a new idea. You know, now it's the sequel, so it didn't do anything, I don't know, amazing, but it was good. I enjoyed it.
Same actor?
My daughter likes it.
Like the same voice actors for the...
It seems so. I mean, I don't think the human girl is the same because she's getting older. So well, maybe it was because the voice actor would be getting older. That kind of makes sense. But I enjoyed it. Visually, it was cool. I mean, Pixar always does amazing stuff. It looked really good. Did I watch anything else? I need to watch Sinners. I haven't watched that yet. It's supposed to be amazing. Both story and AV. Trying to think if I got anything else going on. Not really. Trying to sell those Kef blades.
Oh, you decided not to keep them?
Well, they're just
really digging them.
I do like them. I'm worried my dog is going to pee on them. He hasn't yet. I'm just worried that. So I'll probably box them up. They just need to find a home that's gonna appreciate. I love them. They're phenomenal speakers. They're the only speaker that has been in my living room that my wife's like, yeah, this don't look too bad.
They're huge. I'm surprised she feels that way. They're huge.
They are very big, but they don't look like a traditional speaker, which is why.
No, but they sit out in your living room like 3 feet because they're so big.
Nah, she doesn't. Well, look at what else has been in there.
Well, that's
Anything
fair.
is better than the Black Swan.
That's fair.
I mean, I did tell her the Black Swan was the size of the F200, and it's not. Uh, it's like 5 times wider, and I remember unboxing those, and it was one of those times that you just know, and all you could do is smile, like I know I screwed up, but
Yeah,
I'm too far into it. And
I think your wife has Stockholm syndrome at this point. She's like, yes, these are only 3 feet by 6 feet.
Yes, it's only 80 subwoofers, but they're in the wall. Yes, yeah, maybe, but we'll get rid of those. So if anybody needs Kef Blades or the Kef Blade 1 metas, shoot me a message. They're a previous demo of mine. We used them at the crawl, and they did a great job. So they're great speakers. It's time for them to find a forever home. I like how I talk about speakers like I do adopting animals.
It's time to find a forever home.
It's time to find forever home. Please adopt the speaker. The heart of the angels.
Yeah, you need some Sarah McLachlan singing.
We should make that video, and it's just speakers crying because they're homeless.
Oh, funny.
What else did I do in the AV world? Did I do something? No, I didn't do anything. So I watched those movies. Theaters kicking. Adam Peltz may come out next week again, just to fine tune everything after a year, because I had that whole debacle where we changed amps and then the gain and the phasing and everything changed. So I want to make sure that everything's good. So he'll be back out, I think, next week. I was at Audio Advice, so I had that going.
How'd that go?
I mean, it was good. You know how it is
when show. I've never been to that show. Just tell me about the show.
The show is like,
who's it for? How many people are there?
The show is it's like M-Wave with more vendors and none of the like objective demos. So it's like Expona, but with mainstream vendors.
Home theater based, 2-channel based?
Both. There's they have hotel rooms, but there's several big rooms with home theaters and stuff in them. So it's a cool show, but you know how it is when you're in the space for a long time and you've kind of seen everything, and the industry doesn't change very fast. It kind of goes through periods where a lot of things change, like when the new projectors come out, but speakers don't change very much. They're kind of the same, and then they maybe a slight tweak on things. So there wasn't anything. I'm trying to think if there was anything revolutionary that was there. Ascendo showed that they had their 32 and stuff there, so that was nice that people got to experience that. Martin Logan did a home theater setup with electrostatics. Wonder where they got that idea. And then JVC had their NZ 900s. Epson was showing the LS 9000.
Did they show it in a room that was dark enough to get a gauge? Like you could tell what was going on, or was it too bright?
People seem to like it. It's the replacement for the 4050, so it's a good projector for what it is. It's not an LS 12,000 killer by any stretch of the means, but if you're looking for something in that price range, it's decent. Unfortunately, everything is moving up as inflation increases, so it's, what is it, $4,000?
They're still selling the 5050 though, right? The 5050 UV, or did that drop
I don't
off?
know. I think it's still on my price list. I don't have an answer for that.
The reason I say that is that 9000 has a 2001 contrast ratio, right?
It does, yeah.
That's kind of at the bottom end of the spectrum, I feel like at this point. It's DLP territory without any kind of controls. maybe a little better than DLP, but in that realm.
Well,
And we
I
feel like
mean,
we
to
moved
be
past that.
fair, your projector has a 2001 native contrast.
3001, which is still at the low end of the spectrum. I mean, it
Excuse
is.
me.
We've said the same thing. I
It
agree.
is, but my point was going to be is that it is on the lower end of the spectrum, but in your case, you have the brightness as a compromise, right? You have a
Mhm.
trade. That one, it doesn't really have the trade. Well, I guess the trade is money, right? You don't get all three.
Well,
So
but kind of you do. That's why I was asking about the 50/50, because while it has a lamp, it's going to have about a 5,000 to 1 contrast ratio.
yeah, but its software sucks.
Does
It's
it?
bad. It can't do it. You're having to put HDR into SDR.
No, that's the 50/40. The 50/50 wasn't terrible. It has a static slider. The
I mean, I guess
50/40 was
it's not.
terrible,
I guess it's not
admittedly.
bad, and I have to remember that those projectors aren't doing much outside of 709 anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Um,
I still like the 50/50. As far as as far as I know, I'd trade the bulb to have the better contrast personally. And if it's cheaper, it's just a bonus.
oh, that was not me saying that the 5050 was bad. It's a great projector for the money. That was me saying, is it amazing? I guess it depends on the price point. What is it, like $3,000
I
right
mean, it
now?
has been as cheap as like 2,700. Maybe it's
Yeah.
gone up. I haven't followed it. It's, maybe the tariffs got it too. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's $3,000. I don't know if it's still available. I'll have to send a message to my Epson guys and see if it's still available. So that was being shown. JTR was there. Jeff was there and showed the
That's cool.
column.
Yeah.
So that
How did he
supposedly did
bring
very
like
well.
a full flight scale setup? Like,
No,
did he show off his new
Jeff
gear?
called Wednesday or Thursday before the show, like the day before the show, and went, "You got any rooms?" I mean, you know Jeff. I'm
Hmm.
like, "Yeah, actually." So they put him in the very last room on the top
Hmm.
floor. He's at the very end of the hallway, and he
Hmm.
just throws two speakers and a sub in his truck and goes. And I was talking to him, and he goes, "This is amazing. They fit in the back seat. I'm not having to do anything. I
You
can
didn't have to
carry
hire a whole
these
crew to
in."
set it up. Yeah, yeah,
So he was living the high life. Teardown was super easy for him, but everybody loved him.
sure.
So they seemed to do well. Uh, Mad VR showed the dynamic subtitle optimization, so that was cool. I hadn't seen that before. Um, where they can cut subtitles and move them into the image instead of doing their whole black bar stuff. So that was nice. Starting to move things. What else was there? Stewart was everywhere. Focal showed home theater speakers, like actual home theater speakers
That's a new entry for them, isn't
with
it?
compression drivers.
Cool.
Yeah, they weren't terrible. I think they were decent. It's hard for me to get an objective opinion in those rooms because they're not great rooms.
Right.
I mean, they're not acoustically well treated. But it wasn't bad. I mean, it was a good experience, good show experience. Um,
Now, are these guys big in like monster screens like M-Wave and stuff, or they just play on like a little
so
100-inch
that
ultra short?
room was on like a 200-inch screen.
Oh yeah, so this is like the real deal.
Yeah, yeah, big
That's
room.
cool.
It was like 11 bass layer speakers, bunch of subs, Sony GTZ 380 on a 200-inch screen. Uh, no, they had big screens.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So those were some of the theaters. Who else showed? Oh, Bowers and Wilkins showed home theater speakers. So that was
No, that's
interesting.
surprising. I didn't know they
Yeah.
were in that realm either.
Yeah. I didn't know that either. So
These
they
companies
showed
are
that.
expanding out, huh?
Yeah. It's because of us, Jonathan. That's the only reason. It's because of us. They're like, man, they're talking about this. We need to make these speakers. It's not because of us, but it's fun to think so. I don't know what models any of these were. I'm there when I'm working at Mad VR, so it's difficult to get away and talk to people and get some objective data for everybody.
Were you kind of like restricted to that room for the most part again? Just because I understand it's your job, so I'm not faulting it at all, but you
Mhm.
kind of had to stay put for the most part.
Yeah, Yeah, so we're out in the middle of an atrium,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm stuck there for
Mm-hmm.
a good portion. We were outside the Martin Logan JVC Trinov room,
Mm-hmm.
and that went fairly well. I don't think there was any. No, I can't really say that because I don't know the temperature of all these rooms. Like I don't know how all of this went because I wasn't able to talk to people. But the vendors everybody seemed to think it went really really well, but nothing mind blowing at the show. But maybe I'm just what's the word I'm looking for? Used to everything, so nothing is like what you were saying about my wife, where it's
Mm-hmm.
just par for the course. Unfortunately, when you're in the industry for so long, she's like, "Oh yeah, another speaker. Oh yeah, that's." And then if you can't objectively test them and use them, it's tough to be able to do a comparison unless you put them head to head and objectively control for a bunch of variables. It's
Mm-hmm.
tough. That's it.
So Raymond says that was the new JTR line,
Yeah,
the smaller.
the Kalos.
Yeah, yeah. All right,
That it
cool.
was, and it seemed to be a hit. I didn't get to listen to them, but it seemed to do well. I was just happy for Jeff not having to lug in a truckload of speakers. Showed up in his pickup
Literally.
truck with nothing in the bed. They went in the back seat, and he was happy.
Yeah.
Nothing big. So did that. Had that show. Got Cedia in the next couple weeks. I'll be out there for over a week.
Are
That's
you
gonna be
guys
a lot of
sharing
work.
with the Mad VR? Are you sharing a nice room with Eclipse again? That type of thing
So we'll have multiple rooms.
with the Christie Eclipse? Will you have that in play?
I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about what's in the rooms yet. So I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. But I got to go out there and build stuff. So it'll be multiple rooms. I think there's like 12 envies or something out there. So it's a lot. We'll see how many. A lot of vendors, like I don't think Sony's going this year. I don't think LG's going this year. And it's people are starting to throttle back. So it's interesting that the industry seems to be changing. I can't really say it's interesting because we've seen this moment coming. I mean, the internet has killed a lot of this stuff because you can get your information from your house. You don't have to go to shows to be able to know what's coming and then get it from word of mouth. It's you can see it the day that it gets announced.
I wonder if there's some uncertainty in the industry that's kind of hitting that too. I was reading a thread. Chris Deering on AVS forum said that some circles he was in at the last show were talking about how JVC is putting a hiatus on their R&D for the new
Mm-hmm.
JVCs that would be coming out in 2 to 3 years until they figure out how the tariff situation falls out. They're building those things, as far as I know, in Japan. I looked that
Yes.
up. Japan has only 15% tariffs, so it doesn't seem like that should be like changing the ball game. But participating in the thread and reading what other people were saying, apparently it could be the uncertainty of where things land and how much you have to charge for profit margin. And does it take the pricing model too high to
Mm-hmm.
appeal to consumers at some point where they can't make the sales that they expect? And so I guess the JVC spokesman or representatives just flat out said, we're putting a pause on our R&D. And that seems crazy to me because you can't really pause R&D if you want a significantly new product.
Well, I don't know
Years
how much they're having to
away.
pause because the 800s and 900s share almost all of their components with the commercial stuff that JVC does. So if they're still innovating on that side, I don't know how much it's going to affect them. It may affect things like the NZ500 and the NC700 because those are not. But the big boys share a lot of components with the commercial stuff. And I don't know. It's difficult to tell what they mean by that, if they even said that. I mean, who
Well, I mean,
knows?
it came straight from Chris Deering, which I mean, that's one of the most
That's
reputable
fair.
calibrators on the whole internet,
That's fair.
on the
But
whole forum.
just devil's advocate, like, was it misheard? Has it gone through? I don't know. I wouldn't put it past them, but the summer is always a slow time. Like it's always slowed down. And the years that I've been in this business, this is kind of what always happens in the summer. So it'll be interesting to see how it comes back in the winter as people stop being outside as much. I know we in the Kansas aren't outside as much as East and West Coast people because we would die, but we'll see.
Here, I'm going to share my screen so we can have the exact specifics of this. Tell me if you can see it.
Yep.
So this is the thread, and it was linked to from another thread I was looking at. Someone was asking, is JVC going to come out with any new models in 2025?
Yeah,
And then
you linked to this.
clearly no. But here's the link to somebody said that the JVC thing. Chris Deering says, I think there's an extremely low chance of any new JVC will come out this year. I fully expect firmware updates at the most of the present line announced this fall, so you're likely looking at late Q4 of 2026 for new Projector models. Also, with the tariff situation, I think it could easily lead to longer cycles between models as well. This was discussed at the Projector event in Colorado earlier this year. JVC said at the show they were putting a pause on all the R&D efforts until the tariff stuff was sorted completely. So that time frame, the Projector event in Colorado earlier this year, do you know which one that would be?
Yeah, there's one the screening room does every year or every few years.
Yeah. So
That's what that
to
was.
me, that just struck me surprising because to me, if you want a competitive product, this is not what you stop. You might
Well,
pause the manufacturing, you might pause your plans for rollout, but
I do understand their feeling of maybe lengthening the refresh window because in the grand scheme of things, 3 years for a product that's that expensive is pretty quick. So I can understand them potentially extending that window 1 to 2 years. I don't think that would be the worst thing, because it can be stressful on the consumer of like, do I need to wait? Do I upgrade now? And I
well,
guess it
here's
could
the
go
problem
both
I have with
ways.
3-year releases. If they're going to do longer than 3-year releases, they better darn well make sure there's like a very notable change. These
Yeah.
little, with little exception, there have been some exceptions, but with few exceptions, most of the Projector stuff hasn't moved great paces forward in like 8 or 10 years. It just hasn't.
Well, it's
It's in the
hard.
same place.
It's hard. I mean,
Maybe that's
what's
why they're lengthening the cycle, because it's quote hard and
oh,
there's
that's what we're quoting.
not much room to go as far as improvements.
Yeah, I think we're hitting potentially a technological wall. They do have commercial projectors that have a lot more light capability than the residential stuff. They're just really expensive. And they're not like Christie or Barco light capable projectors. They're just more than something like the NZ900, but they're really expensive. So I can understand why they are saying that what they're saying, but I'd like to hear some more concrete information direct from JVC before.
Right. Jumping to the conclusion.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you. I know you just had the podcast on ABS, and I listened to it with Rob from Epson and talking about kind of the history of projectors and all that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you have this would be an interesting question to ask. The people have spoken. Here's what they want.
The people. Yeah.
They want the JVC-esque blacks, and they want the brightness of the Epson, and even a compromise between the two would be well received. So if you have the ear of a JVC technician, it would be interesting to see why they don't create something that's like 5,000 or 6,000 lumens in
It
the consumer
exists.
space, not in the professional space, in the consumer space. Why don't they make something that's like 5,000 or 6,000 lumens and has half the contrast of what they have now, and that fits that ming. Suck the components out of the JVC NZ9, put it in a bigger chassis so you can adequately cool it, and give it more laser diodes, and simplistically engineering what it is as I'm telling it compared to how complex it would be, that seems like that would make the mark. Why is that gap not yet filled? Is it too new a
I
gap?
don't know. I don't know. I know it exists. I don't know why that hasn't moved into residential. Like, even if that projector was more expensive than the NZ900, demand is there. I mean,
Yeah.
it absolutely is there. I don't know why. Heat, maybe.
But that's why
Maybe.
I'm saying make the chassis bigger.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I don't know why.
In your opinion, is that the QL chassis is notably bigger? Is that slowing sales on it for Epson? Like, is there a size of that's too big for your typical consumer in the home theater space? Have you heard comments like
Sure. Yeah. There absolutely is a size that's too big. There's a size there's too loud. There is all of that. What we need to remember is that we are not the biggest part of their market. So the things that we want are not what the primary bulk of their market wants. So I don't have an answer for that. I understand because those are the things that I would want, right? That we're all chasing are an increase. I mean, I talk to Rick, the CEO of Mad VR, about this all the time. That's the end goal. If you have a projector that is a bit brighter than the NZ900, but has that contrast, because it means you can get to a bigger screen and having it well lit. So
and not
now
even necessarily a bigger screen. I appreciate just well lit where it looks bright like a
fair,
TV.
yes, yeah, fair. I don't know what the holdup there is. I mean, Epson seems to realize that, and they've taken a different approach, and they've gone to the extreme of light output versus contrast. But I think they're doing that because they're keeping the price of the projector in check. Like if they went all on both, things get really expensive. So Blake Ribbuck says the JVC V2 4010, which I think is the one I'm talking about, is 5,000 lumens, 130 pounds, and $180,000.
Those days have passed. That's not going to fly anymore.
No,
They might have got away with that 5 or 10 years ago, but that isn't selling today.
no, not at that price point. I mean, you're in two Christy Griffin territory right there.
Yeah.
You're halfway to an eclipse at that point. Just saying. Just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, not quite, but you're getting there.
And then I had heard someone's on the comments saying this, but there's rumors, speculation that Sony may be dropping out of the projector market entirely. That I don't know. Those
That
things fly
rumor has
around
been
every few
going for a
years.
while. I mean, when they dropped
Agreed,
out
but
of
it's
EU
fresh
for a
again. I've
while.
been reading it again lately.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with all of that? You know, Brian Cobb brings up a point of, do you think the QL series is eaten into the higher end JVC market share? What's your feeling on that?
I don't have any idea. There's no sales metrics I've seen whatsoever on this. So
No,
you would
but
have
from your experience, I mean, you've got a QL now.
yeah.
Do you think
I can absolutely see that being the case, but I have no data to back it up. Just personal experience, having looked
subjectively?
at both, yes, I can absolutely see the QL eating into the JVC territory because it's just so much dang brighter, and we've talked about
Yeah.
that on this show. 3 times brighter is noticeable, just like better blacks is noticeable. It's
Yeah.
it's a spectrum,
It
and
opens up the door for a lot of other options, right? You've historically, if you were getting a really big screen, you were either gonna woefully underlight it because the projector didn't have the capability. You were gonna use a pro projector that was just gonna look like poo poo
yeah,
in a lot of capacities, or you were gonna spend a ton of money on a Barco or a Christie. And those were your options. Now Epson has been like, hey, watch this, and brought that to the masses. And the QL, for what it is, for the price point, is great. It trades the contrast that JVC has for more brightness. So can't fault them. And it is super sharp,
mhm.
even though it's an E-shifter. And I love the detachable lenses. I don't know why more projectors don't do that. I mean, it increases complexity a lot, but I think it's helpful. You get a sharper lens instead of
Mhm.
having the built into the projector. And I think it's more resilient, dare I say. Like if the lens in your projector goes bad, you got to get a whole new projector. But if that lens goes bad, replace the lens or get a new lens. It's more modular. It's more investment friendly, if you will. And those lenses have been used for a number of years, from projector to projector in the Pro line.
Yeah.
So it's cool that they're in the commercial space. Anything else before we jump to questions? There's not a ton of them. Today may be a short day. That's okay.
We are totally being non-reliable, broadcasting on Wednesday night with very little notice. So
that's how we do it. That is the trademark of this stream. Is you don't know what you're gonna get, and you don't know when you're gonna get it.
That's
how this
right.
goes. Eric with the AVS one keeps us on point. He schedules them all and does all that. So the next one for there is going to be with James Chen. I'm excited about that one. I'm going to learn a lot about that one. I learned a lot from Rob, like the history of everything.
Mm-hmm.
That was great about different things.
Yeah, that was an
fantastic. I enjoyed that one. Rob's a great guest. But James, I'm excited to go through and learn about a bit more about how everything. He has slides. Like he's a whole slide deck of how this is going to go down.
Where do you watch that podcast? I've just been listening to it. The AVS forum is just like a listening link. There's no video.
It's on YouTube.
Oh.
I think.
I was just clicking on it through the AVS
No,
forum.
it should be on YouTube. So the next one's going to be how HDMI works, what all the buses do, how the sync works from the source. And then we're going to talk about, I think it's going to be a 2-part video series. Then we're going to talk about what it looks like when it doesn't work.
You know, like 70% of your podcasts have been on HDMI for this sequence with AVS.
Well, that's the point. I don't know. It's part of the industry that a lot of people don't talk about, but maybe I'm just trying to vocalize my hatred for this interface that brings me all of the pain and has cost me all of my hair. And just I think it's people talk about speakers, they talk about all the sexy stuff all the time. They don't talk about the unsexy stuff. I didn't have a word for it. Unsexy stuff. But I think it's important. All the time I hear from people, hey, this is happening in my HDMI chain. Nobody knows why. I mean, some people do. And the always result is we're just going to throw things at it until it fixes itself.
Yeah. Try 5 cables and see if one of them works.
Yeah. See if one works and checks all the boxes and makes it happen. But so that'll happen. We record that next week. I don't know when it airs, but I'm excited for that one. James is a great guy. But let's jump into some questions. Guys, we're going to answer your questions. It's first in, first out. I promise that I do star them. Just be patient. So if you asked a question at the very beginning, we will get to it. I don't star everything, but I try and star the ones I like. No, the ones that I think are not just comments, but are actually questions. All right. Do you want to read them, Jonathan, so I can stay on starring them?
Sure. I've been keeping up. The comments are slower tonight, so I can keep up.
They are. Well, it's Wednesday, and nobody knows what we're doing. So,
okay. So, let's see at the bottom here. No, that's the oldest ones. Discuss how the Epson LS9000 is overpriced.
Do you think it's overpriced?
We didn't discuss this directly earlier. I think that I would prefer the 5050 UB over the LS9000. So if you're gauging prices, probably. If the 5050 UB is $3,000, probably.
But the 5050 has been manufactured forever, so.
But it's not a bad unit. That's like saying.
No, I'm saying it's been manufactured forever, so the prices potentially have come down because of quantity factors, right? You've gotten more efficient to the build process. And
is LS9000, and maybe you don't know. I don't know. I haven't followed it. I know that contrast is what I looked at. Does it have 120 hertz for gaming?
I have no idea. Let's find out. Let me look.
Yeah, I mean that'd be worth noting because a 5050 is not 120 hertz. If you care about that, it's going to have the better E shift because it's the more modern 4x E shift probably over the. I think it's not 2x. Is it 3x on the 5050? I'd have to look that up too. I had the 5040 and the 5050 had a little bit better E shift on it. The 9000 probably has even one step more.
Yes, the refresh rate is 120.
Yeah,
it's HDMI 2.1.
Can you see if it says it's a quad shift? Is it a 4x shifter for the LS9000, or do they put the older style E shift on it?
Looking.
So you'll get a laser. The laser is probably not any brighter than the 5050, and at the end of the day, a laser might be a little bit better than bulb, but it's not some dramatic difference. It's a light source. It's not like a laser at a DJ party or something where it's drawing an image. It's just a bank of laser diodes that makes light. It's not directly shining on the screen or anything else. So it's not like a huge advantage there, but there is advantage in the full fade to black. That's one place where laser is nice. I don't know. I still am just stuck on the 2001 contrast ratio because I feel like we moved past that so long ago that we don't really want to revisit that where we don't have to.
I don't see where it's talking about shift, so I don't know. Not sure.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's our opinion on it. I've shared my opinion. I'm not going to say Kevin or Ryan's opinion. Ryan, you said you saw the show and you thought it looked good, at least in the viewing conditions you saw it in.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, it's good.
Well, there you go.
There you go. I don't have enough time with it to provide an objective idea on it. I mean, it wasn't bad. Like I looked at it and didn't throw up in my mouth.
So here's where my head's at. If you're going to spend $4,000 on that, would you not say, and this might not be possible for everyone, I get it, but to me, this is one of those things where you probably just save another $2,000 and you buy the LS12000, which is 600, 700, 800 lumens brighter and has triple the contrast, double to triple the contrast. Like that to me is worth $2,000 more.
I would agree. Yes. But spending that amount on a projector is not what everybody wants to do.
At which point I go to the 5050 UB. So this is a product that
some people don't want to deal with the bulbs though. I know you're going to say that you don't want it, but some people don't want to deal with that. The laser is the new sexy thing.
I get it. All right, moving on. Next one, Dave 2SB. I heard Ryan say he had a Ford Lightning one time. He does. I just purchased one recently, and it's my favorite vehicle I've ever owned. Just curious what Ryan thinks of the B&O system in the truck.
I
stereo?
Don't really care about my car stereo systems unless it is Jonathan's THX Navigator with the THX.
And the deep sound button that I can press at a moment's notice.
Yeah, that's all I care about. Now, it's fine. I don't really care. I'm not the greatest guy to ask about that because I don't care. I know a lot of people that aren't in a home theater. The car is the best audio experience they ever have, funnily enough. So a lot of people care. I don't. It makes noises that aren't terrible.
There's an interesting little discussion on that, Ryan. I remember when I was a young teenager and doing all the car audio stuff and really into it, replacing the speakers, replacing the subs, putting in keying systems.
Mm-hmm.
I used to always think I will never own a car without an aftermarket system. Like this is the ticket. And now, at this point in my life, 46 years old, none of my cars have.
I think they've gotten better.
That's true.
They used to be really bad.
The built-in systems have gotten better, but they're still not to the level of obviously do it yourself. But is it a good enough? Good enough as the enemy of great type thing?
And I'm saying that because I'm not in the car audio sphere. This is, I'm not poo-pooing on the people that are. This is me saying I don't care enough in my car. If I'm going to want to listen to something, I do it in my theater. Like I have another avenue to do it.
Yeah.
So I get why people would want to do it. It's just not my thing. And I don't care as long as it's good enough about what it sounds like. I mean, if it's awful, I'm probably going to care. But car audio has gotten to the point that it doesn't bother me. But I'm also the type of guy that a lot of times when I'm driving in the car, I don't have anything on. It's just silence.
You are?
Sometimes.
On. The Bluetooth integration is so nice these days that covers a multitude of sins too, because you can play anything you want and you have like all your podcast stuff if you want to listen to talk radio or audiobooks, which we end up
or
listening
us
to audiobooks. So, I mean, like live off the internet, we were driving to PA and back. We were listening to our church service, our local church service on YouTube. That's wild. And when you think about it, that's wild. Live.
Yeah.
Like we were there, during the normal service.
I miss our cassette tapes.
I don't.
I meant cassette tapes, like plugging into your 3.5 millimeter headphone jack and playing from just, oh, the things that and that was awful. It was all awful.
Yeah. Well, Bluetooth integration with the GPS and all that stuff is fantastic. I
Yeah.
don't know if you end up trying to start to losing some of that stuff, and they sort of put the nail in the casket too when they were making it so that when you removed the factory head unit, you lost some of your like steering wheel controls, and there's ways around it. It all gets
They're getting
complicated,
around it.
whatever. But
It's good enough now that I don't bother changing. It's too much of a hassle.
does yours have a little subwoofer? Do you know?
I have no idea. I'm sure it does. It's fine.
The Lincoln has one. It's not very good, but it's there.
It's there. It's all that matters. It tries, Jonathan. It tries.
It's the deep bass note from the
It's the
TJ.
little subwoofer that could.
Little lame, but it intends to be
It
better.
tries.
Ryan Fleming said, "Is there a notable difference in performance between the Hypex and Purify amps, or are we in cork sniffer territory, meaning like wine?"
They're both really good. If you're comparing like the base Hypex against Purify, Purifies are better. I mean, they are technically better. The new Hypex, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't done any research on those. I'd have to ask Dylan about them from Buckeye. I did Purifies originally on the Martin Logans because the Martin Logans were just eating everything for breakfast. I mean, they're like, ah, and then the amp would die, and then I'd try something else, and it would go, ah, and that amp would die. And so did the Purifies, and the Purifies didn't care. Like, what else you got? So the new Hypexes I've heard are very similar to the Purifies, the new more expensive model of the Hypex. But if you're not needing, we talk about this all the time, the equipment that you buy should be used as a tool. If you don't need that from that tool, don't spend the money. Unless it somehow gives you some psychological feeling of, well, I know what goes in comes out and it's rated better. That is valid. I get that. I'm that way on tools. I don't need to spend the money that I do on tools. I'd probably be fine with Ryobi or something else, but I buy DeWalt or Milwaukee, and I don't know why. Same thing can be applied to amplifiers. So if you don't need what the Purify is offering, you don't need to spend the money. But I understand why you would if you.
I think Dylan himself says that there's not going to be an audible difference between those two amps because they're engineered to different degrees, but it's all beyond our human hearing thresholds.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you need it, you need it. If you don't spend the money. Hypex is great.
Gary Pye says, shout out to the Tascam BD MP 4K rack mount player. I'm only physical media in the theater, and it's been through 2 UB820s over the years. Deserves more coverage. Marketing is a heck of a thing.
What is that?
Sounds like it's a 19-inch rack mount disc player. I'm not familiar with it. Why have you been through 2 UB820s? Have they failed on you hard, or you just needed
when it does something
mount
he doesn't
deal?
like, he takes it out and then spikes it on the floor. What is this Tascam? I don't even know what that is.
Tascam BD MP4K. Yeah, it's exactly what you would expect.
I don't know what I expect.
We care, but it's a $800 rack mount Blu-ray player. I'll share a screen and we'll look at it.
So why does he have an $800 rack mount Blu-ray player and the 820s? Why do we have both?
He doesn't. It sounds like the 820s either failed or he got tired of them or something.
Oh. I mean,
that's what I'm asking. Like, why did he have 2 of them fail?
I don't know. What is it, like an Oppo clone? What is this?
Contract type or contractor type thing. Looks like it's got balanced outputs.
Kind of looks, yeah, it must be Oppo kind of thing.
Drive.
Cool. You know what I like about it? It's 1U.
Yeah, there's a back panel picture if I can make that large. Got control IO. Pre-fit, pre-outs, balanced and analog balanced. Yeah, good.
That's cool. I'm gonna keep that in mind.
You're not gonna run back to your rack in your room, or for your customers, I suppose.
It's customers.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Absolutely not.
I was gonna say like wonder the maze back there for discs you don't have.
The only disc in my UHD player is Spears and Munsell.
I
And it
have
just
most of your
stays
discs.
there.
Yeah.
It just stays there. Never comes out. That's it.
Hmm.
Oh, you want to watch Spears and Munsell? Turn it on. We're done. Turn it off. I mean, that's its only function.
So Gary says my 820s. The first one quit reading 4K discs, and the second one, after a few years, would constantly freeze on 10 gigabit discs. Yeah, bummer. I'm kind of wondering about my 420. I think it might be starting to do that too. It'll start to freeze on the transition between the two layers. I think. Yeah. 80-inch subwoofers. Jeff Jefferson says.
Yes.
Tell us more.
I mean, that's the Ascendo. It's been out for a long time.
I know, but well, the resizing thing is new.
I mean, yeah, but it's the same subwoofer. They just changed how they measure it to be in line more with what the pro driver guys
How do you? Here's my question on that. I read
don't
that,
know.
but it doesn't make any sense to me. How does 50 jump to 80 because of a resize?
It didn't. 50 went to 64.
Oh,
And then the 80 went to 100, which kind of makes sense because the 80 is enormous. Like it. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know anything about that situation. Jeffrey is on AVS, so you could ask him directly. I don't have an answer for that. But they do exist. The 80 is really cool. I mean, the 50 is really cool, but the 80 is cooler.
Miguel says, "Is too much overhead on an amp a bad thing?"
No.
Only if it causes heat issues, really.
Yeah. It's not going to hurt anything. I mean,
Right.
if you drove things too hard, you could blow up your speaker.
It doesn't sound like Miguel is of the sort who thinks that it's doing full power all the time, but you do see and hear and read and watch people who think that if it's 200 watts per channel, it's always putting out 200 watts and your speakers just sip what they need. It's not the way it works. So if you have a 1,000-watt amp and you're using 12 watts to your speaker, you're not feeding 1,000 watts. It's getting 12 watts.
Yeah.
On that content, or 3 watt.
Well,
watt.
then you'd also want to look at, just in case, and I don't know, it depends on the amplifier. What is it doing for distortion at however much power it's producing? Some amps can do wonky things, so who knows?
Yeah,
I guess you could think about it like with Class G or Class H, where they transition over to other
A and AB. And,
yeah, where they're transitioning depending on the power utilization. So there's that. But no.
Here's where it could be a bad thing, Miguel. This scares me. If I go over to Ryan's room and something goes wrong with his calibration, and he's got a 115 dB sensitive speaker with a 2,000 watt amp on it, and all of a sudden it goes to full power.
Because
I don't know if we'll still be here.
Because maybe an Apple TV. Oh, you saying Krakatoa 2 would happen? Like it would just end? Life would cease to exist?
I think our heads might explode. Like they just pop, poof, to be blood all over your theater.
Be that THX demo where the Simpsons and he's going, turn it up.
Yeah,
maybe.
Like that would be a situation you might not want too much overhead. If something goes wrong, you might regret it.
But then you could put in a limiter. You could stop it.
I had a limiter on my Marantz, and when we plugged in the other units that didn't have a limiter, it took off.
It wanted to show.
Any experience?
Hold on. Okay, let's do this one and we can do the super chat. Do this one first.
Any experience with the Acurus Muse? I wonder how it compares to the sound quality of the Trinoff. I have no experience with the Muse.
I don't either.
I don't even know anyone who has a Muse. Do you?
I don't either.
Sorry, Raymond. We stink. We can't help you.
I just don't have any experience with them. I mean,
has ASR reviewed a Muse? I will Google that real quick.
Supposedly their calibration stuff's cool. I want to say Michael Stevens with Obsessed, they're doing something with the Acurus. I think I heard that through the grapevine. Maybe I'm wrong there. but I swore they were doing something with it. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, here's my expectation without even knowing very much more. And we talk about this so regularly that we should just make a little sticker that we can pop up through our program here. But these things on these flagship products at this point at our in our junction in time are so high above the human audio threshold of hearing that it's probably not going to matter besides the EQ that applies. So if
Yes.
you were to turn off the EQ and SPL match match between your two different receivers of preference you're going to blind test, you should not be able to tell the difference because these SYNAD scores, these signal to noise ratios are so high that you can't tell. Our ears are not that
Yeah.
good. But
Now,
the bells and
using it as,
whistles.
yes, that's a big deal. It is a big deal. The tools that they offer and what the room EQs, the audio EQs are doing, and the PEQs and stuff that you can utilize, they are different. So you've got to determine what feature sets from each of these, Muse versus Storm versus Trinov, which one fits the bill. That's how you need to look at this, not which one out of the box is going to sound better. It's which one brings the feature set that allows you to do the things that you need in your room.
Yeah, Raymond, also look at the forum threads not from the manufacturer. See if you can find a Reddit thread or look on AVS and get some direct feedback from people who own them and make sure they're not buggy.
He says he's got to buy one, take one for the team.
Yeah. Well, all right. So to put a point on this, and I'm just going to mention the brand because I don't care. If you go to Emotiva's site and you look at their processor reviews, they all look clean. Like there's no complaints. Everyone loves it.
Mm-hmm.
You go to AVS forum and you look at the Emotiva thread, and it's riddled
Mm-hmm.
with people that are complaining about bugs with HDMI or switching or sound levels or processing or anything. Like it's riddled. What you find out in just 10 minutes of searching, this isn't some sort of like hidden secret, is that Emotiva cleans up their forums. You know, if someone doesn't like the product, they'll remove the post. And so that's why I'm saying you should go to a third party site where the vendor doesn't have control and look up like the history, the bug reports, the user experience, that kind of stuff. It's sad that you have to say that, but it is what it is.
And that's not limited to just audio. I mean, that's true in every product, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I'm not picking on Emotiva individually either. I mean, they're just an example that comes to mind because that's been going on for decades at this point.
Yeah. So we got a super chat.
Oh,
Yeah. You want to grab it? You want me to grab it?
I'll scroll down to the bottom.
I got it.
I don't even see it in the pinned comments.
What a loser.
It doesn't show up that way.
High Finest 343 says $4.99 super chat. Much appreciated, man. Never expected. Always appreciated. Guys,
Yep.
I'm torturing myself over the LG G297 on Amazon for $10,800. Worth it over a Bravia 598. Less than half the cost. Wife doesn't approve. Mad fear of missing out.
What technology is the Bravia 5 using? Do you know? I'll have to look it up if we don't know.
Is it mini LED?
I'm
I
looking
feel like
it up.
it's mini LED.
Mini LED, you're correct. RTINGS gives the Bravia 5 a disappointing review.
Uh-oh.
And it says a 7.2 out of 10, which doesn't sound like it's that disappointing, but that's in their summary. It's a disappointing follow-up. That's the newest
G2
review
is going to be really good.
as of just the last month. 2 months ago, June 12th, 2025.
And I feel like on a lot of those micro LEDs, there's a lot of blooming that happens with the backlights and stuff.
Man, we can't tell you if it's worth $5K, but I can tell you an OLED's worth pursuit over a mini LED. Like that answer, I won't hesitate on, but I can't tell you if it's worth $5,000 for you.
I would say half the cost of that 97, you could get an 83 G5. Now you're missing 16 inches, but if you move your seating distance closer,
I can also
Could you
tell
get
you
away with it?
this. We bought a mini QLED Samsung upstairs for the living room when I really wanted an OLED, and every time I watch that thing, I think, dang it. Well, especially at night. During the day, you probably don't care. But at night, I just think, because blooming's a thing. There's not enough dimming zones. And when subtitles come up or when there's any kind of transition, like
Mm-hmm.
you can tell it's not an OLED. And
Mm-hmm.
when you sit in front of an OLED and you go upstairs, you think,
Mm-hmm.
dang it.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yep.
$5,000, that's
It's a
not
lot of
pocket
money.
change. Yeah. Do you just think though, man, do you want to say dang it every time you sit in front of it?
Could you put a projector in there too?
That's a question for you. How come projectors don't traditionally have blooming? Like I don't see blooming on any projector that I've used. Nah, I don't know about the real cheapest ones, but the mainstream consumer ones that we talk about on these podcasts, they don't have blooming.
Because
Why?
they don't have backlights and how they're doing the light steering and stuff. It's not possible. The mirrors and things, it's pixel by pixel. Right?
Well, we don't have mirrors in a lot of them. The DLPs do. But it's shining through an LCD screen, and like the case of LCD, three different panels. You would
Oh,
think
maybe there
there
is
would be a
blooming.
little
I don't know.
blurring between the black and the white on extremes.
You're
Like
asking me things I don't
you don't
know.
see it.
I
That's
don't
a
know.
question for Rob.
They don't have backlight zones though, so I don't know. Rob, I should have asked him that. It's a good question. Yeah, on this, if I were in your position, because I'd want my wife to be happy, but I still want to get what I want, I would get an 83-inch G5.
Is that about
Five,
the $5,000 range?
yeah, 5 to 6 gram. It's going to be a much better image. It'll be a better image even than that G297 because it's using MLA. No, the G5s they changed again, didn't they?
I haven't followed.
I can't keep up with TVs.
I've
They
been
changed
so
new ones.
happy with my C2 OLED that I haven't even followed the newer technology. Like
Yep.
I have zero reason to upgrade. I'm so happy with it. I've not had a display like that. I've always been on the hunt. I change my monitor traditionally every year or two
We
in my
both
entire
did.
life. I got this OLED like 3 or 4 years ago, and I haven't even looked at the market.
Nope.
It's like this is,
Nope.
as far as I can tell, it's perfect.
Yep. I've got two C3s that I use as monitors, and I don't even think about displays anymore. Ever. I used
That's
to think
what you
about it all
want,
the
my
time.
finest. You're hearing it here. That's what you want, is to feel that way about your display.
Used to think about it all the time, and now I'm just like, whatever. And then if I need a new TV, it's just, what OLED am I going to get? Until something comes out to replace it. I would do the 83-inch G3.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say OLED too, just from my own experiences. Sorry, man.
Tis what I would do.
Hurts a little bit, but that's the advice we're given.
Yep. Okay.
Next
question.
What's your thoughts on the NAD M28 amp? I'm considering buying two of them to use with the Anthem AV M90. NAD M28. I'm pulling it up.
It's a really good amp. That whole Master series from NAD is really good. The Egan Talk modules. Gene said it's one of the best amps he's ever measured. Now, it all goes back to what we said multiple times during this stream.
And
at what point does it stop mattering?
Yeah.
Right? Because it does. But if you're the type of person that psychologically that's going to help, that's one of the best amps out there. It's really good. And it looks really good. If the aesthetics matter. It's a good amp. NAD makes great stuff. I just put a NAD AVR into a customer's house, which is nice because the AVRs have built-in Blue Sound or Blue OS, which is super cool.
Really high, really nice signal noise ratio, way above the human threshold.
Yep.
Frequency response 0.1 plus or minus 20 hertz to 20,000 kilohertz. Standby power's half a watt. 118 dB signal noise, basically. Like, yeah, that's a real nice amp. If the dimensions on the NAD site are true, and sounds like you said
they are,
then that's a good amp.
It's one of the best home theater amps out there. I mean, it's expensive.
$7,000 though.
It's expensive.
How's it
But-
compared to? How's it? It looks like it's about the same power as the Marantz variant. How's it compared to the Marantz variant? Have you seen anything on that from Gene? Because Gene had that Marantz setup.
Which Marantz?
The amp 10 or
The
whatever.
amp 10. The amp 10, I don't think measures quite as well as the NAD. But I think the amp 10 is still decent. I think the NAD is just the end as far as consumer grade.
Yeah. Well, I would just say take a look at the amp 10 versus M28, compare prices, kind of see what you think, looks, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
You're not going to go wrong with either of those products. You're not going to go wrong. Frankly, you're not going to go wrong with something that's cheaper than that because, like we talked about, these are just way over what you can hear.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we already answered this one from Ryan Fleming. Maybe he had it in there twice and we favored it twice.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Raymond says, Jonathan, when you get a chance, can you test one of the demo songs, Pomegranate? It was unavailable yesterday, and today it does not sound even close to how it used to. I have that one in my playlist. Are you talking about on Apple Music? I will check it tonight. If you're saying that it's changed, that's disappointing. Raymond, when you get a chance, talk back to us and let me know if you're talking about on Apple TV or Apple Music, as it were. John says, hi guys from the Philippines. Have you checked the Valerian Pro or Max? Thoughts? We are going on the next question. Stephen Kelly says, John.
Okay, hold on.
Actually, we did talk about this.
Lily.
What's
what I'm
that?
going to say is, yes, we did look at it, and you should go try and find our posts in the Valerian thread, and that's all you need to know.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Go to AVS Forum on the Valerian thread, look for Archaea, and look for Moltar. Look at our posts in that thread, and look how we were ripped to shreds for sharing our honest opinion on it. And that's a hype machine stuff, man. I don't really want to get into that. It didn't go well for us. There was a lot of hate thrown our way for no legitimate reason, so we're not going to talk about it any further here. Stephen Kelly. I just got front wides set up with my new Denon A1H. Which movies make good use of front wides? Ay. Specifically for movies that make good use of front wides? I don't know. They're kind of more of like an ambient thing where it just kind of fills out your soundstage. I'm sure there's like a AVS forum thread. We've talked about it before where they have a link to basically analyzing all the newest movies and telling you what amps or which movies have objects that move through the front wides and heights and all that kind of stuff. I can give you the link if you can't find it. That's on AVS Forum. It's constantly updated. They'd have that answer for you. I don't have that off the tip of my tongue, but what I do have is I make a playlist on Apple Music, and I'll link it in chat here, actually, which has great use of front wides with music, with Atmos music. So let me link that because I can give you that one real quick. And there's a lot of cool stuff that's happening with front wides in Apple Music. That's real obvious versus kind of more ambient. I definitely think they're worthwhile too, by the way. I'm a big fan of front wides and Dolby Atmos content. Just a moment. I'm logging into my account here. It timed out. It's asking for two-factor. Give me just a second again.
You sent me an email. Oh, no.
I did?
No. The guys at GSG.
Playlists.
When did you send this email? Oh, I just got it. That would explain why I didn't see it.
I don't know if this link's going to survive through the stream here, if they'll rip it down, but I'm going to put it in chat right now. We'll see if it pops up. Yeah, right there. It did. It's on the top of the screen there. That's my wides playlist on Apple Music. There's a lot of great stuff in there. When I'm just randomly exploring music and find something that makes good use of the wides, I threw it in my playlist. So there's some answers for you. As far as the AVS forum thread, let me see if I can find it in just about 10 seconds, and if I can't, we'll move on. So you can get that other answer I was talking about.
We should create public playlists. You should do the surround one, and I'll do 2-channel.
See who gets more hits.
You're definitely going to get more hits. I just don't have. It's not that I don't have. I don't listen to it nearly as much as you. Like if I sit in my theater, it's always 2-channel.
This is so cool on this one that I want to share it. I'm going to share my screen just for a second to talk about the AVS Forum one. They're doing a great job with that thread. So tell me when you can see my screen, Ryan.
Yep.
This is the name of the thread. It's called Atmos Mixes 9.16 channel activity. It's got 123 pages, 2,500 posts. So it's a pretty busy thread. It'll just get more over time. These are the movies they've mapped out. So, I mean, look, I'm just scrolling down. Look how many there are. There's a lot. And there's more all the time because they're constantly adding them. So if we just grab one of these arbitrarily, I don't know anything about Talk to Me. It shows you each of the different channels. And I think in the first or second post on the thread, or whenever he first introduces it, he talks about which channel is which. And it's probably not going to be big enough for us to see here.
How is he doing this?
It's some sort of software. I don't even remember the name of the software. It'd be in the thread as well. But he shows how much activity is going on in the channels through the processing thing for these movies. So you can just visually see it. It's graphed out.
That's cool.
These different movies. Like this one doesn't have hardly anything. It's Paw Patrol. Don't get too excited about that one.
Hey, it's one of my favorite movies.
Anyway, yeah, that's worth checking out as well.
Cool.
Going back to pinned comments. Scrolling down. Hey, did Raymond ever get back to me about the Apple? Oh, there it is right there, running on Apple TV, Apple Music. Gotcha. I will check that out, man. I'll let you know.
And Kevin, I got the email. I will shoot you a text after the stream.
Mr. HDMI, Mr. Carpets, y'all both use a low shelf bass boost for ULF. What is it again? I used to use a shelf filter on mine. And it starts at 20 hertz and it's 9 dB. And it's I think it's called a LS12 or something like that.
Mine's different on
new amps.
So you're using a 12 dB per octave down there?
Okay. With a 9 dB boost.
Yeah, mine's pretty substantial. And you're not going to hurt anything. I mean,
you can
as long as you've got a
send you a bill.
I just said that. Ignore I just said that. But as long as your subs can handle it, you're good.
Not going to hurt anything, says the guy with 11 subs, one of them 50 inches, like 4 of them 32 inches.
I don't know what you're
He's using like a fraction of their power. Can't hurt anything.
No, we hit the clip lights. I mean, I'm pushing into sometimes up into like 140 ranges and stuff. So clip lights do turn on. It happens.
140 is too loud. Too loud for me.
I don't do that often. It's just when we're running the near field 50 and stuff and people's hair is actively moving in the theater. Yeah, it gets going. Oh, what did I do? There was something. Oh, I played some 2-channel music that gets down to 3 hertz. That was my screen.
Drivers are going like this.
My screen was rippling.
Yes.
It was like large ripples.
The wavelengths are so interesting at that point. If you happen to walk around your basement, you might find very weird things occurring in very specific places.
Yeah.
Where they intersect.
Yeah. It was. My hat got blown off my head at one point.
You're sitting here like no change. You move over here, it's like. That's how those things work, man. The wavelengths are really wild.
They are. So that was fun. That's something I did over the past week was play with some super infrasonic music. That was fun to do.
That is fun.
But yeah, we use shelves. You're boosting at certain frequencies over an octave range. You've got a 12. Your typical common ones are 12, 24, and 48, depending on how aggressive you want to be with how many dB they're moving per octave.
MW, I see your text there at the top. He wouldn't notice. Ryan is playing all those things at like 1%. If you lost 2 subs in there, you wouldn't even know the difference.
I
This
can tell if the 50 goes down easy.
Well, okay, that one might be unique, but
The 21, I can tell on the infras. I can't tell on the 21s. The infras I can tell because there's not as many of them. So,
a
like,
little
if
more.
I lose one, like if I lost one, the 50 or the 24s or the 32s, I'm losing 3 to 6 dB. So you can easily tell at that point. But if a 21 goes down, no, I can't tell.
I'm pretty sure somebody could walk out of my room with 4 or 5 of my subs and I wouldn't know the difference for a week.
Just holes sitting on the ground, and
Like
Jonathan's like, I don't
this one doesn't.
know
This
what's
chair doesn't move like the other ones do.
going on.
Hey,
That's probably true.
Paul A says, "Do any companies make hush boxes? I've only ever seen do it yourself. Thoughts on making and using one?" I
There
think there
are
was some chatter in the on the thread about this, right? Like in our chat thread.
what chat thread?
I didn't read it, but I just saw some people responding to this.
Yeah, they did respond to it. There are companies that make them, though they are typically very expensive. A lot of times they're custom. They're they're not cheap. And if you are good at woodworking, good in a shop, there's no reason you can't make one. I don't know if you are, Paul, but Bob helped me with mine. It doesn't fit around the Griffin. It is on the Griffin because I don't have this size. So we just put it on the intake and exhaust to muffle the fan noise. And it does a great job. It dropped it by 6 dB, maybe more. So it did a good job.
I think there's something else that I've seen on the forums, and specifically Sir Master was the kind of one that introduced me to the topic on the forums. His name's Nick in real life. He pointed out that a lot of times the noise really comes from the exhaust fan.
It does.
And so if you can, and this might sound a little ghetto, but it doesn't have to be, if you can rig up a little plank, if you will, and then drop a piece of acoustic foam from the plank that's only about 2 or 3 inches out from the projector in that one location covering the exhaust fan, it will seriously quiet the projector. And you don't need a hush box for the whole thing. You're just quieting where the noise is stemming from.
Yeah.
So a lot of times exhaust fans can be, depends on the projector. They can be on the back of the projector. If it is, no one would ever see it on there, and you're fixing a problem without a lot of
Yeah.
expense or time.
Depends on how aggressive you want to be at noise neutralization. But you're absolutely right. Most of the noise comes from the exhaust.
You need to make sure you have room to breathe on there, but even just a few inches and then spitting into acoustic foam.
Just block it off. Don't let it breathe. Just block it off.
HT5150 says, what will be your best choice for a sealed reference capable bed layer speaker for $1,400 or less per speaker? I think we should reference them to our $5, $10, $20, and $100,000. Did we do a 50,000 one in there? We did our movie theater recommendations by price gauge.
I don't know if we did
We had one for
50,000 or
5,000.
not.
We had one for 10 and 20. We had
I
one
feel
for
like we
100,000.
did. Yeah. HD 5150. Look back at our previous live broadcasts and you'll see those where we make recommendations on what we would do given X budget for a theater. And that should give you some idea of direction. There's a bunch of options.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to come down to, like I say every time, what you need in your space. What are you asking of the equipment? What things does it need to overcome in order to make your space better?
Mm-hmm.
What if do you have a speaker that comes to mind? 70J1s, is that what you would do?
Yes. For me, that's absolutely what I do. I love these speakers. And that's
For
even more than they cost.
$1,400. Yeah. It's probably the 70J1 for me too. If you go higher than that, it's quite a bit higher. You get into like the Ascendo, the 10, but at that price range, 70J1. Agreed.
And it's not sealed, so he's asking for sealed. Mine are ported.
Sealed. Oh. Are there any?
Yeah, I mean, you're probably looking at most of the pro cinema stuff that I would be recommend for those type of prices is like ported, but
Mhm.
there would be sealed. You just have to specifically look for it.
But the port shouldn't matter as long as you set your crossover
Yeah, I
or
agree. That
filters high
shouldn't really be
enough
a
that it won't
criteria for you.
engage. So it doesn't, as long as HD 5150, as long as you set the speaker up properly and PEQ it, even if it has a port, just stop it from engaging with filters and you won't have to deal with it if there's a reason that you don't want it to have a port. The
Yeah.
port's just lowering extension.
There you go. Jeff just mentioned. I remember Ryan recommending Martin Logan B10 or B100 for bed layer.
Yeah, but those aren't going to be reference capable unless they're close enough to you.
Go back and watch our videos. We all kind of did some research and thought through it and came up with our recommendations per price point. I think that'd be a good way for you to go,
Yeah.
like you started the conversation with.
What's the port tune to the 70J1?
65 hertz.
That's pretty low.
Currently, I have an Epson 3800 on a 120-inch screen. What upgrade path makes more sense? Epson LS12000, then MadVR, or MadVR with a 3800 and LS12000 later? Or wait until a decent 110-inch TV is affordable. So if I can be just brutally honest with you here, I don't like the Epson 3800. I
Why?
installed that for somebody here in Kansas City who was asking me to help him upgrade his projector, and that's what he wanted to spend. The blacks are not black enough. Like, you're giving up too much. The LS12000 is a tremendous upgrade from the 3800. It won't be that much brighter than the 3800, but the black levels will be significantly better.
Would you do LS12000 or NZ500?
120-inch 16:9 screen.
Mhm.
I've said it before, and I don't have any problem saying it. I think the JVC NZ500 is kind of the bee's knees right now.
It is.
It's 3 years newer than the LS12000. It's not as bright as LS12000. It doesn't have 120 hertz. It doesn't have HDMI CEC. So those are things you have to consider, but it has a better picture. So if you and I'm not, one of my biggest detractors from JVC at the time was that the PWM bothered me.
Yeah.
But the NZ500 PWM hasn't been bothering me. Like, they must have changed something. So I don't like that 3800. I'm sorry, I just don't. I wouldn't recommend it. After seeing it, I definitely wouldn't recommend it.
So Samick, I agree with Jonathan. Given that the price points are so close now between the LS12000 and NZ500, NZ500. No question. There. It's $500 price difference, MSRP. On that size screen, it's going to be a really good image.
Man, if you see the NZ500 after seeing your 3800, your socks are just going to fall right off.
Yeah.
It is going to blow your mind.
It's pretty good. Shoot me an email and we'll get you taken care of.
When he says that, he means it, and you should take advantage of it, because you don't have to pay what you would buy at Best Buy, potentially. Make that contact, man.
Yes, you do.
Maybe not. There might be something to be had. Okay. Adam. Good evening, gentlemen. Stay ignorant or demo speakers outside your price range? Oh, this is a good one for you, Ryan.
This is dangerous. It depends on how much you want to hate yourself. But it also, you can get some horrifically expensive speakers that suck. That aren't, I mean, Jonathan, we've seen this time and time again at Expona.
Mm-hmm.
Just nonstop. Things are stupid expensive, and there's no reason for them to be that expensive at all. Smack it, doesn't matter. Shoot me a message. Let's see if we can get you taken care of. I think it's more about what your budget is, and then seeing what you can do with that, and then if it's worth moving away from that. I don't know.
I kind of like it, and I'll tell you why I like it. And maybe I would say differently if I was kind of at the bottom threshold. But I like going to Xpona and hearing $800,000 speakers and then coming home and being, I like mine better.
Yes.
That's kind of fun.
But there are cases where you hear things that are better.
Yeah.
But then it comes down to it's not the price point worthwhile better. And it puts exactly the same feeling for you, Jonathan, back in of, man, I got 99% of the way there with way less money.
Yeah.
So it can be hugely helpful unless you're me and you sit down at Atlanta Home Theater and your first thought is, crap.
What do I have to sell to
What
get
am I
these?
doing now? And you're ripping your entire room apart. And yeah, so it depends on the type of person you are, too. For me, it's very dangerous because if I hear something, my mindset is there's no going back. That is the new benchmark. That is, it doesn't matter if it's 5% better or 3%, that it's better. And I can't undo that. That is now what everything is compared to. Unfortunately, that's how my dumb brain works. So I have to make a conscious decision. And I've walked the walk. Like I've sat down and made the mistake of listening to something and realizing, well, this is the direction I'm going now.
Mhm.
And my theater got ripped apart over a year. The whole theater torn down to studs and moved walls and did all kinds of stuff. Carried 8,000 pounds of plywood down my stairs. I say I'll never do that again until I have to do it again because I hate myself for some reason. So I would do it.
I think it's just fun to do it. If you find
Yeah.
something that blows your theater away and you love it, at least let you know that there's things you can do to improve. Like
Yeah.
it's fun to like have the journey.
Yeah. Jeff Jefferson says bed layer of 9 black swans. So there is a theater going in that is using all black swans for base layer.
Wow.
It's a big room,
Wow.
but still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
MW is right. Learn about calibration setup. It's free. It will make a huge difference. That's exactly right. Free except for time and a $100 mic or so. But yes, very much improvement is on tap if you do that. We already read that one too, so that was a double hit. What's the best way to manually calibrate a 9.2.4 setup? I use the Mini DSP and REW for subwoofers, but what's the recommended approach for the main speakers and for Atmos channels?
Ear only.
So we don't
No.
have any information on his receiver or his speakers or what he's lacking that he wants.
But how would you approach it? Like what would you start with?
I mean, I've done the same thing for probably 10 years at this point. I run auto EQ, whatever flavor it is. I validate that it didn't make any mistakes. I validate that my subwoofers are all in phase and the speakers are in phase using my mic. Then I turn off the auto EQ and I do a manual EQ. And I was doing that before I had these speakers. I was doing it with my Mackies. That's my preference because it's consistent. I know what I'm gonna get. When I do the auto EQ, I never really feel like I got the same thing twice in a row.
Yeah. Well, you're right.
And then with the tactile, it's more difficult with auto EQ with the tactile. It's so much easier when I can just do the auto like the manual EQ because the tactile is so much easier to calibrate too and get it right. It doesn't change each time.
Yeah.
I'm not the right one to ask for that because I just like the manual stuff. And I
So
guess
how
he is, to be fair, he is asking the best way to manually calibrate.
Yeah. How I typically do it is now not every AVR has the ability to do this, is you do manual. So you do manual PEQ filters to get things more in line in the ballpark. Then you auto EQ it, and then you go back and address what auto EQ did again. Now, not every AVR and preamp is going to be able to do that, but it's going to allow you. The auto EQ can do things that we can't because our ears and and it's getting better, but how REW or OmniMic or Smart or any of those applications work, you're not able to do some of the stuff that Auto EQ is capable of doing. So you address things that you can before, let Auto EQ do its thing, and then you address things after. A lot of times the things after are based on ear and what you think sounds better, not based on the measurement. Um,
Ryan and I are going to have a slightly different take on this, and that's totally fine.
but I think in given like a Denon or something, I would do what you do, Jonathan. I don't like what the um, Odyssey does. I'm not a fan of it, so I would do manual.
Right. I we did a here. I'm just going to share this real quick. Audio. It's been a while since we've shared this one. Auto EQ comparison 2014. This I'll make it brief, but just to kind of share what's happening and just to kind of bear this point. Can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
So we did a comparison in 2014. It's got some age on it now, but we did a comparison with AccuEQ, ARC, Odyssey, Dirac, Mac, Trinoff, YPAO, and we did it in a way that was very, very fair, very clear. So I'm going to click into the results, and you'll see what I'm talking about. We used my Mackie speakers at the time. They were the exact same speaker all around, just like I have my JBLs, the exact same speaker. They're nice speakers. Here's a frequency response capture with the near field mic measurement. You can see it's nice. It's pretty clean. That was everywhere. This was the subwoofer response. We didn't apply any DSP in it. We just let it be raw so that it would be kind of fair as far as all the different systems having the same EQ to start. We set up the calibration points with drum stand mics so that every auto EQ processor, look at my room here, very plain Jane. This was when we first moved into this place. All I'd done is pretty much paint and hang. But we set up the mic calibration points with drum stands so that every single one of those auto EQ processors would have the exact same position for each of their measurements to make it fair. And so this is some more pictures of the room. We only used 4 of my 18s to kind of keep it more what people would normally have, like basically 2 different subs and a stack of 2. So I'm scrolling down here. We did all the calibrations. Here's like the first point, the second point, the third point, the fourth point, the fifth point. And then we calibrated them, and then we used OmniMic to measure the results. And theoretically, at reference level, these should have all been a very reasonably close line, right? I mean, that's the whole point of the auto EQ, is that you would get something that was reasonably close that would establish a reference and be reliable. Look at this retarded. I shouldn't say it. Look at this stupidity. If you use the 1 kilohertz point as reference and you say, like, that's where we're going to try to do the SPL matching, you have 50, 60, 70, 75. You got 25 dB of variance in the output. So reference reference could be plus or minus 12 dB basically based on these charts, and on all these different things, all were just all over the place. I mean, look at these reference curves.
Mm-hmm.
Which one did you get on that day with the bundled mass market manufactured mic that's in there? Like, there's just so much variance. It's not reliable unit to unit, which is why I always laugh when I see these guys review and say, like, oh, this Denon's auto EQ's not that great, and this one's fantastic. You should buy this model because this one has. They're all the same. You know, like if it's the same manufacturer, it's the same thing. It's got a bundled mic in it that has a plus or minus allowance of, too high of an allowance. This is unacceptable.
See,
This is what
Jonathan
the industry
feels the
was.
way that I do about HDMI, about auto EQ.
Yeah, this was 2014. Hopefully, the state of affairs has improved since then, but I wouldn't be surprised if it hasn't at all, or very
Yeah.
minimally.
Now, specifically, when I say what I'm talking about, you're on like Storm and Trinov because they're one of the only ones that's capable of doing that. I agree wholeheartedly with what Jonathan is saying about most of the other brands and options that are out there. It's too variable and you don't know what you're going to get. And there's guys that'll go through just calibration after calibration after calibration after calibration until they get something that seems like what they want.
And then they're afraid to touch it because they don't know if
Yeah.
they can get it back.
Yeah.
That's a bad place to be. That's why I'm not a big fan of auto EQ, at least leaving it alone as it is. And I'll tell you another thing that's kind of funny from this test. In this thread, it's a pretty interesting thread to read if you guys have any interest. Pour through it. We had a dozen people in there or something that were kind of sitting in those chairs that you saw where the mics were set up when we did the thing, and we were testing stuff, and we had people write down their observations. There was one of these things that made it sound like the speakers were blown out of its auto EQ, and some of them sounded really good. Such a difference between these different processors and the way that they calibrated with whatever mic they came with. Um, that you if you went to somebody's house and they were running one thing and you thought like this is the best system I ever heard, and then you had the next processor on there and you listened to the same exact speakers in the same exact room, you could think it's the worst speakers you ever heard. Like
Or it
there's
was the
that
same
much variance.
processor just running through another calibration run.
Yeah, that would be interesting to do too. Like just run the same calibration 5 times and see if your results how varied your results are.
Yeah.
Now, theoretically, if you're using these drum mics like you did, you should remove that variance and it shouldn't be that different.
Theoretically.
But when you're setting the microphone on the couch back and it's not the exact same position, you are going to see variance time to time. So anyway, that's what I want to show you. And then the next like 12 posts are basically running the setup process for each of the different units individually and showing their calibrations and talking through the nuances. That was a good little contest we did. I really enjoyed doing that. Here's the mini DSP Dirac. We won't go through the whole thing, but just to give you an idea. Here's the Yamaha. It has the sweeps. It has like kind of the interface of what it showed. We talked about some of the things that like some subjective observations, and then people were just chatting about it, like what they thought. Another thing that was interesting is you see these reports. Let me scroll down to that one. I told you I wouldn't go through the whole thing, and here I go. You see these reports, like here's Anthem at the time with their ARC system, and you see like what it supposedly did, and it's supposed to have.
These come up all the time on Facebook, by the way.
Like, look how perfect my Arkham, it's made it. Here, if I can make this large enough to see. It started as like the red and the purple and it ended with the green, and look how perfect it is. And then you take a mic measurement with your Omni mic, which is like not biased by the software. It's what it really is. And this is what it looks like. Now, does this look anything like this little perfect green line they gave you? And the answer is obviously not. So these things lie to you. These little reports that you get that say like, look, they're theoretical.
It's not, it's more of that is the predicted result.
Yes.
But they don't, it's like the fine print kind of stuff. They don't come out and say, hey, this isn't what it's actually going to measure. This is just what we think it should measure. But it doesn't in most cases. So you end up with, hey, this is how my room measured. Look at how amazing it is. And it isn't. You have all kinds of different problems.
Yeah. I'll put this thread in the chat for anybody who wants to explore this, but I do think we as enthusiasts should like read this stuff and know this stuff and realize there's so much variability that you just don't. It's hard to make head or tails of somebody who reviewed one unit and says like this is fantastic or this is terrible. That's just not how that would actually
MW says his response is flat enough if he uses 1/3 smoothing.
Well, there's that too. Okay, so go to all comments and then put this in the chat. And I don't know if YouTube will strip that out, but it's here for the moment. All right, I'll stop sharing here.
Hey, welcome back. We got to almost be to the bottom.
Going back to pinned. I think we were close when I was in the pinned stuff. Okay, so one last thing on that one, the last question here. The best way manually calibrate, I calibrate all speakers to be the same thing. I take a little cut out of like the 2 kilohertz range, small, 2 dB, 1 hertz down or 1 dB down at 4 kilohertz, 1 dB down at 1 kilohertz. Just a little softening of that 2 kilohertz range, and that's by ear. Like that's just what I like. I've talked about it before. I like the smiley face EQ very slightly.
Everybody's going to have different subjective tastes.
Yep. And if you don't know where you want to start, look up the JBL Harman curve. A lot of people seem to like that. That's why JBL uses it. You could try that and see if you like it. X curve for cinema, people like that. There's just different things you can try. Okay, next one. Do you use a NAS or an external SSD to store your movies?
I used to.
You use
I don't anymore. Now I'm on Kscape. I didn't want to be my own IT anymore. It just... Well, I'm a dealer, so... I drink my own Kool-Aid. dip into my own stash, taking lines off the back of my toilet. You use a NAS, right?
I use a
Yeah.
QNAP. A
I
QNAP.
think I used a Synology. So they're great. You are your own IT support, and things aren't always perfect. Things, if you do it long enough, you're going to have drive failures. It's just how it goes.
Are Macintosh integrated amps really worth the money? I've listened to one. Didn't sound any better than my Anthem AVR.
Have you seen the Facebook posts and stuff floating around of everybody talking about the DAC chip that's in the Macintosh?
I basically stay out of that kind of stuff.
I don't get into it. I just saw the post.
I I don't. I was talking to someone about this recently. Occasionally, someone will call me in by name to share my experience with blind testing amps. Like they've read it and they think it's interesting. And they want me to talk about it. I'll come in and provide the link and I'll say, "Here's my experience," but don't take my word for it. Try it yourself. And it makes no traction and it changes no minds. And people who haven't experimented with it whatsoever still have their subjectively chosen favorites that they know they can hear a difference in. And it's like, why would I continue to stay there and bang my head against the wall? So I'll make like one
Mm-hmm.
post and leave and stay out of those threads for the most part as much as
Mm-hmm.
I can.
Yeah. You're not going to change the mind of somebody that's entrenched. So I think if it makes you feel better and it does things that you want, great. That's all I can say. The Macintosh stuff looks super cool.
Mm-hmm.
It commands a pretty good resale value. Um, so if it does what you want it to do and you've got the liquidity to make it happen, sure. But if you're of the camp that John Lim is of, where you can get something cheaper that's doing everything you're asking of it, then that also works. It's all about getting what does what you need it to do. Sometimes the aesthetic is part of that.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with somebody saying, I want the best engineered amp I can find.
Nope.
And pay for it. That's
Nothing
okay.
wrong with that either.
Do it. Do it.
I've been there with my X Saber Pro that's sitting on my desk. It's still one of the best measuring DACs out there on Audio Science Review.
I have no problem with any of that. Chasing engineering perfection, all fine.
No,
I just want
great.
people to be realistic about what is actually audible.
Yeah.
That's
know what you're getting and know why you're getting it. Don't buy it because somebody else tells you to. But if it's making you feel some way psychologically, great.
Adam says, can you guys create an AVS post for the AV experience to store all the references you post on the chat, links, etc.? Once an episode is done, the chat is gone. The chat isn't actually gone, I don't think. I mean, I've gone back. Actually, it seems like it disappears right after we broadcast, and then it comes back like a day later. I think YouTube has to like parse it, make sure there's not bad links in there or something. Reference links.
All the porn and stuff that you post, it's got to go through and get rid of it.
Yeah, there's a process, but it does pop back in. You have to turn it on. That's something under settings to turn the live chat on, and you wait about 24 hours and it'll be there. Not that your idea is not otherwise good. Like I suppose we could. I'm not sure how AVS would feel about that though, because sometimes they'll take down YouTube videos and stuff that we reference. Like if they're from my channel, I've had them take them down, so you can't post that here. Self-promotion type stuff. I'm not sure AVS forum does that very much, but some other forums do.
Yeah, the chats, they do show up. I think you have to have it enabled when you're watching the live broadcast, but they are there. I mean, I can go back and do it. And then we do have the overlay in chat, so you can watch it as we're talking about it. Yeah. A lot of times and we try and put the questions up. It's just sometimes it's difficult you can't scroll back unless you have it enabled in YouTube land and stuff. So I get it. Unless he's watching on Facebook or something, then it's probably not going to be enabled, but you can absolutely watch it on YouTube.
Would you ask your contact at AVS if he would mind if we did that? Made an AV
I can ask Eric. Yeah.
See what he says. If he doesn't mind, then we could easily do that. Just the links, just like one post a week or something that would have our links. Good idea, Adam. I'm not against that idea. The other thing is, if we are, and Ryan's kind of a unique oddity in this realm, that he is both a salesman and a realist and objective in these conversations, because sometimes there becomes a little bit of a juxtapose, if you will, between wanting to sell product that could be expensive that's inaudibly different and posting real world stuff. Does that make sense? In the sense that AVS does have reference links and referral links, I should say. They make money when things sell, and so if you have somebody saying that's something you can't hear, it's not going to be an improvement for you, then that kind of goes against their business model, and it really does go against Ryan making money. But Ryan has made it a point to say that he's going to share what he believes to be the truth. So we all appreciate that.
It's all about just making sure that people get what they need to make the best objective decision. I think at the end of the day, that's what really matters. And that all, I'm going to be honest, that all manifests from this guy. From when I got pulled into the space, how he looked at everything. And I had been with other dealers and dealt with things and then realized based on that conversation that this isn't how things need to be. So again, it's it's 3 degrees from Jonathan.
MW has a post at the top that I don't know that I'm smart enough to address, but I'll try. He says, what's the deal with your JBL surrounds using delay tech for the tweeters? Doesn't it create the time smear or stretch the impulse response decay?
Oh.
Yes and no. There's not delay tech in the crossover board or anything like that. These are passive speakers, but there will be some sort of impulse delay in the fact that they're not on a plane, right? They're in a J curve, and so the speakers are not exactly flat. It'll show up on a comb filtering chart or something to that degree with no smoothing. With a frequency response plot, if you don't have any smoothing, it's not audible. You won't notice it. You can go to my YouTube channel and you can watch some of the different videos I have up there of just like scrolling around the speaker with a microphone, with a camera, showing how it sounds the same off angle, top, bottom, vertical, left, right. You have a large degree of uniform response. You have to think that I've read it many times that our human ears typically hear about a 1/6 degrees of smoothing. And so when you guys are using like 148 or no smoothing, that's not how our ears hear. Certainly not at 148 or no smoothing. Maybe you could be generous and say I'll only use 1/12 to echo what your ears hear. So if you're using 1/12, you're not going to see all that jaggedness, that impulse response thing, and that's what you hear. So I think that's a case of maybe getting lost in the technical benchmarks a little bit, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you know what that is because you made the little joke earlier about your response being smooth at 1/3. You know what we're talking about here. So just think about that consideration that your ears probably don't hear much above 1/6 or 1/12, and then use that in your repertoire of knowledge. Yeah, to your point, there's no delay built into the crossover. It just be the physical location of the drivers, and you're going to have that anyway because it's 28 inches tall and there's 16 drivers. Like even if there wasn't a J curve, there's still going to be on any line array because of the distance being quite different between the tweeters. You're going to have and the woofers from a central mic point. You're going to have that comb filtering enter the equation, but you're not going to hear it. You're going to hear a very smooth and even frequency response. In fact, I'm going to give you a video I want you to watch and then see what you think about that. I'll put it in chat. Hopefully you can just click it. Stand by. I think you can find it. Yeah. JBL CBT 70 J1 line array real-time frequency response capture is the name of the video that I'm going to link to you because it's playing right now. I'll put that in chat. It's right there. But by name, I'll read it again. JBL CBT 70J1 line array, real time frequency response capture. And take a look at how those speakers measure so smoothly off axis, and then kind of gauge that that's what you're actually hearing versus the comb filtering that would be at the high resolution measurement. Okay, is that about it for our questions?
There was one Adam asked that just came in. He said, Ryan, is there anything you're excited about that's coming out this year? That I can talk about? No.
Vader.
That I can talk about? No. So, but we talked about this at the beginning about audio advice. I'm jaded. I've been in the industry for long enough and I'm around all of this stuff that it just becomes, even the really high end stuff just becomes status quo because you see it all the time. So it is still super cool, a lot of this stuff, but I just around it so much that it's not the exciting. There are some new stuff coming from Ascendo. I don't know about Trinov. Supposedly there's new stuff coming from Storm, but I don't think I can talk about it. So again, that I can talk about, no. There's some cool stuff though. Nothing game changing. Nothing getting a lot cheaper or massively shaking up the industry that I'm aware of. That's it. Do you want to stream Friday? Are we streaming Friday?
Yeah, I probably would be good for that.
Let me look at my schedule. Sloan, never mind. There is a soccer parent meeting. Can you do Saturday?
I should be able to do Saturday as well.
Never mind. That's next week. Let's do it this week. Friday. Huh? Friday. This week. The 15th.
Okay.
The schedule, my daughter's parent meeting is next week. So we're good this week.
Uh-oh, listen to this. Adam says we're no longer enthusiastic like we were when we started this thing. You did an extra year before I joined you guys, so...
You list the childlike... I can bring that back. People said I was too enthusiastic. I can bring it back. It's just I think it goes over better when I'm not over the top about things, because I absolutely can be, but I've realized that it can be a little off-putting when I'm that intense about things. If you know what I mean. I can bring it back if everybody wants it, but probably not a great idea. We laugh a lot. I laugh mainly at myself for being dumb. If you can't.
I enjoy the fact that we can just be real straight with you guys. And so far, for the most part, with the exception of the Valerian, we haven't had a whole lot of hate thrown our way for being just honest, just sharing our opinion.
Yeah.
You get more frustration on AVS forum if you're honest, or if
we don't talk. I think the reason that is because we don't say necessarily that things are bad. In most cases, it's just you got to use things.
Tonight, I said the 3800's.
I said great. In most cases.
I mean,
Jonathan's just up here, grumpy old Grinch in his green shirt. So just ignore what he says. But
no,
what I was saying,
yeah,
was. In most cases, when we talk about something not being capable of X, Y, or Z, it's because it's not being utilized in its proper use case. Like if you use it how it was designed, it wouldn't be failing.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people are trying to take products, especially speakers, and asking more of them than what they're designed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether they're advertised to do over that or not, that's something else entirely. But I think we do a pretty good job of being objective and transparent, as well as not just talking negatively about things just because it's easy. Doesn't help anybody.
I got one here from Kyle S. I want to address because I can. I was looking back through the non-pinned comments since I wasn't watching those and you were. I'm trying to time a line or a base shakers, but I'm running into the 20-foot distance limit and didn't ABR. Are you aware of a workaround, or do I start saving for crowd since I hear that they're quicker? You can work around it by adding distance
Mm.
delay to your subwoofer. And then if you're off the same signal, let's say you split it, then you actually have a little bit of extra playroom on your Aura. So an idea would be like if you buy a mini DSP and you feed your subwoofer output into the mini DSP, and for the subwoofer itself, you're going to add, say, 6 milliseconds to it, something like that. Now you're delaying the subwoofer by 6 milliseconds, and you have that extra 6 milliseconds as basically advanced time that you can run your Aura bass shakers in. I talk about this, and so does Sheldon in our, let me find that video, in our tactile bass setup video, and it's comprehensive. And it's very thorough to that exact question. So let me get you a link. Not so loud. Okay, 1 second. Let me get this shared. And then you can check that out, and I think you'll be able to follow along and do this yourself with no problem. So very specifically, Kyle, if you're still watching, that's the link you want to watch. How do I, there we go, hide. Do you have an opinion on this one? Are you ready to quit? I'm digging up some more. Are you ready to call it a night, or do you want to keep going?
No, we can keep going. I like diffusers. I think they make a big difference if used properly. Though I think it's kind of difficult to not use your diffuser properly. I like them.
Yeah.
They're not a replacement for absorption, but they're good.
So as I continue to go through here, we're going to watch War of the Worlds, the new
Jesus.
one with Ice Cube, and see if we give it better than a 0 rating.
All right, let me see if I can
I would
find it.
normally say I'm not watching crap. I'm not wasting my time, but I'm a kind of a sucker for the War of the World thing. I really liked the old one with Tom Cruise. So I'm kind of curious where this falls out. And I heard the audio video is pretty
It's
fun.
not available.
You have to watch it on a streaming service. I think it's available on Netflix. Is that right?
Oh, here it is. No, that's Words of War. That's not War.
Let me web search. It's on. It's
Okay.
on one. It's active on one of the streaming services right now.
Okay, just tell me what it's on and we can watch it.
Do you subscribe to Netflix?
Yeah. Now I don't know what version, so I got to check that.
No, I'm wrong. I guess it's on Prime.
Oh, okay.
Do you have Prime?
Yeah.
The first thing on Reddit. I've heard lots of people say it's the worst movie they've ever seen. Are we going to regret this?
I mean, I watched Jurassic Park Rebirth, so I don't think I'm going to regret anything. But we're going to find out. If I come back and you see a special face, you'll know.
Oh man, I don't know. If it's terrible, let's just say we don't have to.
No, we're going to talk
continue
about it.
Do we have to continue it if it's like so awful we turn it off? What's the ground rules here?
Jonathan, we watched Battlefield Earth. Yes, we are continuing.
That was so awful.
It is. Yes, it is so bad. We went through a binge of what was the movie we watched the entire Tremors. So yeah, we're going to watch it. We're not above watching crappy movies. Ryan says there's literally an Amazon ad baked into the plot of the movie.
Ryan, have you watched it yet?
I would assume he has.
He probably just, well, maybe. Didn't know if he just watched it.
Let's go. Come on. We're going to watch it.
Big Jack 79 says, what do you think of the price on the OmniMic V2? I like the price on the OmniMic V2, but it's no longer available. Now you have to buy the V3. And
I was talking about the V3. It's too expensive.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I wish they hadn't done what they did. Because I could tell someone, I could justify spending $300 on it. In fact, I bought one twice, but I can't. Is it $700 for the new one? That's a bridge too far. Now I'm saying you probably should just go to REW for $100.
And they keep adding new things to REW. So, yeah.
White Glove Review says, hey, what's your process for making demo clips from your physical media? So you rip the content using a product called, man, is this going to get these products? We're small potatoes. Make MKV is a good way to rip the product that you own, your own physical backup.
I didn't say anything.
And then when you've ripped it to a MKV file, you can use TS Muxer, which I think I have a different tool. I used to use TS Muxer. I now use MK Toolnux. MK Tool. It's MKV Toolnix. I apologize. MKV Toolnix is the name of the application you want to rip timestamps, and it's super easy. You just give it the input file, which is the MKV that you ripped from the disk, and then you tell it timestamps that you want to rip out, and it pulls out a little section. Keeps the Atmos audio intact. Everything's good to go. Doesn't modify it, doesn't compress it. It's one for one. Say you rip out a minute long or a 5-minute demo long section that you want to play back in your theater. That's how I do it. So I make individual clips, store them on my NAS, and then can pull them back for my demo sessions.
There you go. I do think I'm about spent.
Okay, I think I'm almost through this thing because I'm starting to recognize comments again when I came back out of them. Newest comments, Samurai Ghost, they say is good. Oh, we already talked about that one, Tiki Time. NZ500 or Epson QB1000. Although we did it in the context of the LS12000 previously. And I'm assuming he's talking about NZ500, not the NX500.
Yeah.
At that point, Brian, I might have the swing go the other way, and I'll tell you why, and maybe not, because our hands-on experience, there wasn't hardly any difference between the LS12000 and QB1000. But on paper, the QB1000 should be like 3,300 lumens, and the NZ500 is like 2,000 lumens.
Mm-hmm.
So on paper, there's a giant difference there. But in practice, when we compared the Epson LS12000 and the QB1000 side by side in the same room, it was hard to tell the brightness difference at all on most of the content.
Yeah. But the LS12000 is significantly brighter than the NC500, uncalibrated.
It is. And I love that QB1000 frame interpolation.
Yeah.
Some of the detriments on the LS12000 were fixed with the QB1000. You get dynamic tone mapping, even if it's not as good as the JVC. It's still better than the LS12000. But you're paying $2,000 more. That's more of a toss-up than the LS12000. With this comparison with the LS12000, I was on the NZ500 camp. Here, I'm probably going to pick it based on my needs. Like we talked about earlier, HDMI CEC is on the QB1000. So if you want one remote control to control everything, 120 hertz versus not. Neither of them have 3D, so that's not a factor. Better blacks on the NZ500, better brights on the QB1000.
They're trading punches at this point. But the QB1000 is significantly more. I mean, it's $1,500 more than the NZ500. So that's not insignificant.
Okay, last question here, and then I don't see anything new. Which media player do you use? Ryan, I'll let you answer first, then I'll answer. You still use your Apple TV? Or are you pretty much done with that too?
No, I use the Apple TV
for your streaming.
Yeah, so I use the Apple TV, Kaleidoscape, and Rune. Those are the three main ones that I used. I have other ones for testing and troubleshooting, but those are the three main ones.
I use Apple TV and I use a Panasonic player.
Jonathan just uses his phone. Computer. Ignore what he says. Watches everything on his phone with Apple AirPods.
Only scary movies. Real close and backing away, muting it. All right. Well, I think we can call it a night. We caught up with all the questions. Thanks for your attendance, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks
for we'll do it Friday. We're going to do it Friday.
Yeah.
I hope.
Well, we try to watch that movie. Maybe I'll flip it on right after this.
I'm not. I'm going to go to bed. I'm tired. Kids in their first day of school. Yay. But we'll watch it. War of the Worlds. You said it had a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes.
I'll look it up and see if that's still the case. Maybe someone give it mercy.
Oh my gosh. Why do we do this to ourselves? Once I turn it on, though, I'm committed. I'm going to complain about it, but
No,
I'll be
it's up
committed.
to a 3%. No,
Oh, man. 3%. I'm so excited. It's not a 0. 3%.
that might be the worst movie score I've ever seen as far as Rotten Tomatoes.
That means that some people liked the movie.
The audience scores 21.
Wow. Well, we'll find out. You guys will hear about it on Friday. So we'll be back Friday at 7 p.m. It'll probably just be another Ask the Questions. I don't think we'll have a theme. That's going to be our theme about how bad it was. Note a timestamp, Jonathan, of the most memorable moment and the best demo scene
Of that movie?
of that movie.
Okay.
Okay. Memorable moment, open-ended question, and best demo scene.
And then I got to listen to Pomegranate from Raymond. I think those are my 2 pieces of homework.
Okay. I'll try and listen to Pomegranate if I don't forget. We'll go from there. But guys, stay safe out there. Enjoy the home theater journey. If you guys need anything home theater wise, AV wise, feel free to shoot me an email at ryan@ascendav.net. Or if you just have any questions, Jonathan is also a great resource. I'm plugging him. If you guys have any questions about home theaters or life in general. Yeah, whatever. If you want to talk about Jonathan or whatever floats your boat. Feel free to shoot us a message. And if you guys have any suggestions for future streams, let us know. I did send a message to Eric. He has not gotten back to me. He's probably, I don't know what he's doing. He's in California, or Las Vegas. So it's 7 o'clock there. He must be busy. But we'll see I thought that was a great idea, having
it is a good idea.
A thread. That's needed. But we will see you guys Friday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern.